Okay, good morning. 8:45 a.m. Saturday, May 2nd, 2020. Getting an early start here. And we'll see where it goes. I'm live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and coming to you live from Penticton, British Columbia, Canada, in the heart of the Okanagan. This is Tea in Space. Welcome to Tea in Space. My name's Tom, and this is Space. Now that we got that all out of the way, what's important? What should we talk about? The mainstream news seems to think this pandemic is pretty important. They're really pushing hard on it. Insisting everybody wears masks for the unforeseeable future. I had my daughter stop by a couple of days ago just in the parking lot there. She was out with a friend, and she asked me if she can hug me. Ain't that something? There is nothing in the world that would stop me from hugging my kids. I don't care how sick they are. Ta-da! So I gave her a hug. I must be punished. So we just heard from Governor Cuomo. He's getting a lot of TV time. Very powerful family, the Cuomos. Have a lot of influence. He assured us today that it's not political. Nothing that's happening is political. Or at least how he's running it. And the decision he's making for his governorship or his area that he covers. Not political, eh? It'll have nothing to do with politics. Yeah, but you're the governor. Isn't that a political title? What do you do? I'm the quarterback of the pandemic scare. What were you doing before that? Hemorrhaging money? What are you doing now? Hemorrhaging money? It's the way we get more. We gotta run out. And then ask for more, and what? Lo and behold, it magically appears. Where did that money come from? Well, we just made it. We made it happen. Basically, we took a loan from the Federal Reserve. A loan from the Federal Reserve? What do you mean? I thought the Federal Reserve was like the government's thing. No, it's not. It's owned. It's owned by somebody else. Yeah, they borrow money off the Federal Reserve, and then they pay taxes on it. It's a really good system. That works. That's meant to last. Hey, wait a minute. Why can't I get a loan from the Federal Reserve? Why can't money be created out of thin air when I make mistakes? What happens to me when I run out of money? You go to work. I can barely pay my bills. I know, we like it that way. We like it when you can almost just get by. That's when we like it the best. Coffee today. The show's brought to you by Kicking Horse Coffee. I'm saying it's the best coffee. It really is. Until the next one that comes down the way, then that will become the best coffee. I'm fickle that way. It's the best, Jerry. It's the best. Oh, is that right, Banya? Thank you. Thank you. Monthly rentals through till 2021. If anybody's interested in having a reasonable place to stay, reasonable rates, I think you're going to find that more motels are going to be converting into monthly rentals. Is this madness ever going to stop? If you let these people make the decisions, the Faucis of the world here, if you continue to let these Fuddruckers make the decisions, you know, like the journalists that are working with the government to put out this message, it's money, man. It's all about money, greed, power. Oh no, we're losing power. We're losing power. We gotta create something. We gotta create a diversion. Normally it's a war. I don't think we're gonna get away with another real war. Hey, I got an idea. What about a pandemic? What if we got everybody to fight against a pandemic? Well, there's no pandemics. Is there? There could be. What about, if we start looking, for it? I wonder what we're going to find. Go on. Well, see, this is my idea. Now that we're sitting around the table, talking about how we can maintain our power and our position. I think this is a pretty smart way to do it. I think we can get Bill Gates on our side. Yeah, we can get people like Bloomberg and a few others, I'm sure, with money, power, to support it. Because when it comes down to it, don't you think that the world has just way too many people? So this is this works on so many different levels. Think about it. And then we can institute rules like, we're pretty around this table. We're all very wealthy individuals, right? Have a lot of power, but it's slowly, or fast actually, it's dissipating. What are you going to do? I got an idea. Create a diversion. Smoke screen. And then I disappear. And the great thing about it is that everybody will buy into it. Oh yeah, they will. You don't want to know why? Because people like to follow. They need to follow because they can't think for themselves. No, it's not like they can't think for themselves. They just won't. So that's my plan. Everybody around this table good with that? We'll create this pandemic. I think there's this one virus. What did we name it? Joe, what's that one virus that we were talking about? That's it's pretty bad. Has the ability to take out a few people, especially if they're compromised. Their immune system. What was that one? Coronavirus. Yeah. See, that's the one I was talking about. It's been around for a while, but we don't have to tell people that. And we could just rename it. Just call it like COVID something, That sounds cool. COVID. COVID-19. Put a number to it. COVID-19. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, so we'll peddle that for a while on the media, see how that takes traction. We'll monitor it. We'll see how the public reacts to it. Seems so far they're reacting pretty well, the testing that we've done so far. All right. I'm done with the hypothetical conversation. What's happening now? Well, right now, we're in a very interesting situation, my friends. We are in a situation where one's ability to make decisions for themselves has been taken away. And we've allowed it. So we're part of the problem. Why are you allowing it? Why did you say yes? Why did you believe it in the first place? We have to ask ourselves these questions. What other flus, what other viruses have come down the pike recently that we haven't named? But, we've been sick. People have been dying. Just we haven't been counting. We just started counting about 3 or 4 months ago. Right? So now that we're counting, we're highly aware of it. Aware of the fact that people die. And granted, I don't think people should be dying this early. Like, I think 100 years old. People think that's a long life. We're meant to live a lot longer. But we won't. The stresses that we put on ourselves, the amount of work that we do, for what? And what kind of work do we have now? Here's what you're going to see. Here's my prediction. You want some predictions? I got predictions. The biggest growth industry with jobs, the job market, is going to be in data collection, tracing, testing, and yeah, I think that's it. Those are the ones. Those are the big ones. There's going to be a lot of new jobs. I saw yesterday on one of the segments on one of the news programs, I used the term very, very loosely because I don't think we really know what news is, all of us. But anyways, I saw it. I don't know what station it was on, but someone was opening up their business. I think it was a video business. Didn't realize that they still existed, but from the second story balcony, he would lower something down to the people, and then he'd pull his bucket up so that he wouldn't have to be in contact with the people. You know, the people that are sick. Well, who's going to get sick? Let's think about this. Who gets sick? Well, it's the people that don't have any money. Usually, the people don't have homes. The people that don't have appropriate clothing. The people that aren't being fed well because they can't find food. Because we're greedy civilization. Very greedy. We will only help the poor when it serves our best interest. You know, when you got, if you've bought into this pandemic thing, fine. Well, guess what? If it's real, you know, if it's really truly a pandemic, not a regular old, fly by the night flu. It's a pandemic. Well, we named it that, so it must be pretty severe, right? Well, if this is the case, if that's the truth, then guess who's on the front lines? You know, because we're fighting a war on a virus that we can't see. Guess who's on the front lines of that war? Like every other war. Like every other fucking war. Guess who? The marginalized, disenfranchised, the people that don't have anything. They don't have any alternative to survive. At least that's what they think. And it's wrong thinking. But there's lots of wrong thinking going on. You can see it by everybody's actions. You can see it in your own town. Very few people talk. Very few people, because they don't want to be controversial. And it seems like, for the most part, especially at the beginning of this circus, if anybody held the opinion that this is a farce, and that's just something that we got to go through, there's lots of things that we go through that we don't see on a regular basis. Lots of different little viruses. We have so many things living in and around us that we can't see. We're going to protect ourselves from all of these things because we're so smart, because our testing capacity is incredible. Moron. It's a moronic idea to think that you can control nature. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if. See, I don't know about motives. Sometimes some people think that it's a real possibility that they're making a change, a real difference, a positive impact on civilization by taking on these measures. I think there are people out there that think that this is the appropriate thing to do. I think that's a genuine misconception, but it's a genuine thought. I think for most people, it's like they want to do the right thing, but it would seem that they don't have the capacity, although they do. It would seem that they don't use it to figure out what's truth and what is not. What's fakery, what's a smokescreen, and what is the actual truth of it all. Like, why is it happening? Does anybody really trust their government? Does anybody really, this is a very poignant, simple question. Do you think that your government works for you? It's probably a staggered response, but I think for the most part, most of us would say, no, they're not. For the most part, they're not. The system caters to a certain select group of people, and it's only a small group. And then the rest of y'all are frontliners. But let's thank our frontliners right now, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have what we have today. That's for sure. While we sit in our palaces, in our gated communities, in our walled countries, aware of everything that's going around. Just like we're aware, but we don't care. Just as long as we've got enough in our storehouses, people will be dying all around us. I tell you, when people start looking at me as if I'm food to eat, that's going to be a problem. Because we sure like our meat, don't we? Meat. Makes us aggressive. Eating all that meat. Well, I already ate the cow, I already ate the pig, I already ate the chicken, I already ate the sea lion, the whale. Well, what haven't I eaten yet? Man. That's happened before. That's happened in history. That happens today. So that's how bad it can get. But there's always starting points, you know? There's always... Well, how did that begin in the first place? Well... It's complicated. But it's a series of events, and then it landed up where... well, the lot of us, we just ate Uncle Charlie. He was becoming a problem, and... looked like he had some good meat on him. So we ate him. Uncle Charlie. Well, what could we do? All the meat processing plants are closed down because of COVID-19. You ever try eating vegetables? Nah. I get everything I need from Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie is a freezer full. Uncle Charlie. We don't care about creation anymore, in general. And might be something we want to look at. I was hanging out by the river yesterday, as I tend to do for most of the day lately. And normally it's pretty peaceful and quiet. And then this family came up by the river. Mom wasn't there at the time, and this is probably the reason why it happened, but you know, the ducks are just minding their own business, and then these kids come out of nowhere, start throwing sticks and rocks at the ducks, right? So I'm like, I normally don't say anything to anybody, usually, unless, you know, there's a conversation. But I did yell at them. Said, hey! Stop throwing rocks and sticks at the ducks, which I thought is a reasonable thing to do. And they stopped. I wasn't able to talk with them after that because, well, there just wasn't any opportunity. But that's kind of the nuts and the bolts of it, isn't it? This is how we view wildlife. This is how we view animals. This is how we view ourselves. Throw sticks at it, poke it, agitate it. Well, you wonder why nature doesn't live in harmony with human. That's probably the reason why. That kind of attitude. Retailers take precautions to keep shopkeepers safe in stores. The lawyers are going to be busy. Another profession that just doesn't see any stop to the business. Lawyers are going to love this. The more law, the more rules, the more regulations that are in place, the more use a lawyer has. Can you imagine how many people I can sue? Well, I got COVID at your store. I'm suing. Well, I got COVID-19 while I was doing that job. I'm suing. It's so easy. How easy is it to make money? Very easy. If you are able to fuck people around and have no thought about it, no care, and if you're all about making profit and you don't mind manipulating, money's easy. Money's easy. We value people who make all this money. And if we really know how easy it is to make money because people are highly manipulative or susceptible to manipulation, they're highly susceptible to manipulation. So, if you can convince somebody of something just by using your words and repeating it over and over again, you're always going to find a buyer. Short-sighted. But that's who we have running the government. That's who we have running all the institutions, from churches to health institutions to you name it. These people rise to the top. All the fuckers rise to the top. Not the people that care. The fuckers. The fuckers that want to make a profit. That want that next position. That will do anything to get there. They will fuck you over. They will fuck your mother over. They will fuck your whole family over. And they don't care. Up and up they go. And the more ruthless you are, the higher your position is. That's what we live in today. That's our civilization. One-trick ponies. Oh, I can make money. Money? Oh, yeah, I can make money. Money's the thing I can do the best. It's just a matter of, taking this over here and switching it over here and taking this from this and this and that. Right? And it's just about moving things around. Well, you don't have to fix anything. You just keep taking. Those are the people that we have in office. Those are the people that rise to the top. The ones that can toe the party line, not think for themselves, to repeat the same things over and over again. Flattening of curves, graphs, social distancing, all these catchy words that are thrown our way. Now we're repeating them. And now everybody's repeating them. They must be true, right? Heil Hitler. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How do you keep a group of people in check? Make sure that they're afraid all the time. When I was young, I remember being slightly agitated about the threat of nuclear war. I remember this. I had dreams, I had visions of these nukes coming over the horizon and just everything done. That's what we were told. Do you remember the last big event that happened that we're all questioning now? How is it even possible? Did it really happen this way? 9/11. Remember that thing? 9/11, and all centered around New York. Well, that's funny. Everything's centering around New York again, isn't it? With Andrew Cuomo. New York, huh? Anyways, right after 9/11, as soon as we could, we got into another war. What was it? Fear. Where did that lead? Afghanistan? A few other places around the neighborhood. Why? Oil. Is it as simple as that? Yes. Greed. Oil's the thing that runs the world, right? And that's why we're having such a hard time getting off it, because everything's made out of it, and we need it to power our Ford pickup trucks, whatever. Or our Hummers. And all this time we know that fossil fuels and the gas that it emits is not the greatest for us. And it does affect the environment. It affects the air quality for sure. Come on, we can't deny this. We all know, most of us know, that it's essential for us to get off of it. But, I don't know, there's a sense of entitlement that goes along. And now everybody has a car, except for me. I don't have a vehicle. I got 2 legs, though, and they work pretty good. Yeah, pretty good so far. I got a new spot that I hang out by the river. You gotta hop a fence, but it's well worth it. I think we should be hopping more fences. I think we should be taking down fences. Yesterday I was going for a walk, and in the alley just behind the motel here, one guy took his fence down in the back alley. Just opened the whole place up. I don't know what his plan is, whether he's going to build another fence or not, but I thought, man, how much nicer is that if everybody had no fence and we just kind of, had the ability to walk anywhere. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? But the more fences we build, the more walls we build, the harder it is to get around. And the more we think we own shit. Well, I do own it because the bank tells me I own it. Yeah? Well, if you can't afford your mortgage, the bank is going to take that over, and you're going to have nothing. You had nothing in the end to begin with, but you'll have nothing in the end, and you'll leave with nothing when you die, so it's not a big deal. But you don't own it, and the banks aren't doing anything for you. Oh, I love my bank. My bank's the best bank. My bank does everything for me. It's been the saving grace for my family. If it wasn't for the bank, we wouldn't be. No, you know what? If it wasn't for the bank, I'd be doing a lot better. If it wasn't for the interest rates, I'd be doing swell. If it wasn't for government and taxes, I'd be doing just fine. If it wasn't for all the rules, the regulations, if it wasn't for all of that, financially, I'd be doing fine. Because it wouldn't matter. Everybody would have something. No, the banks don't like it that way. The banks like it when they take money from the poor. This is the easiest way to make money for them because they have no concept of how to do it better. Any system that's based on greed is never going to work. Storing up for oneself or one's family. In the end, everybody loses because what happens is revolt, revolutions. Normally, they turn violent. Normally, they become violent. But if we were smart collectively, all at once, smart, or at least a large group of us, smart, we would just change all our business practices. We'd change everything. Everybody we deal with, we wouldn't deal with people that fucked us around anymore, including government. We wouldn't realize these institutions as entities that govern over us. We wouldn't anymore. We would just say, no. Thanks, Nancy Reagan. Just say no. That's my new campaign slogan. No, I'm not running for anything. Can you imagine? Homeless guy becomes Prime Minister of Canada. Can you believe it? No. That will never happen. Why? I don't have the pedigree. Yeah, I don't know enough people. The rich people. I don't know enough of them. Now, you gotta know enough of them to really have influence. Well, I know rich people, but I'm not gonna fucking cater to them. Little secret, I was Prime Minister of Canada. Not many people know this. A few people do. About a year and a half ago, I assumed the position. And for the most part, I don't know, it was a pretty easy job. I didn't really do anything. Which is better than doing something and then fucking everybody over in the end. Don't you think? I think I was the best prime minister that Canada has ever had. I'm gonna put that down in writing. Oh yeah, sure you were. You were the best. So you say just because you say you were the best, you were the best? Yes. I was the best. Cuz I didn't do anything. I had no power, no authority. Just let the people do what they needed to do. And let them govern themselves. You see, if that happened, like let's say in a town like Penticton, British Columbia, Canada, if we were governed by these people, who make these deals with rich people so that they can do whatever they want in town. If we did it different, gave more control to the individual to do what they needed to do in town, to create, to grow, to use the land that is here for all of us, but not to use it and to take care of it at the same time. That's a very essential, don't you think? Government, are you doing that? Cities, are you doing that? Towns, mayors, council members. How important is nature in your city? If you pave paradise, guess what? Paradise turns into a desert. Paradise eventually loses its water supply. If you don't look after your water, if you don't look after nature, you're not a good steward. And you fail in the leadership department. A good leader doesn't lead by force. Did you know that? A good leader doesn't use force to make anything happen. He allows it to organically grow. Or she. Good leadership, anyways. You know what I'm saying? Allowing. Not a lot of that happening in government, huh? Just a lot of huge egos making these decisions willy-nilly for everybody. Fear. That's the pandemic. If you want to really nail down what the pandemic is, it's fear. And fear kills. Fear hurts. Can you imagine a world where no one feared? No one feared whether or not they were going to eat the next day. No one feared where they were going to sleep. No one feared whether they could make payment on their mortgage or their rent. Can you imagine if no one feared death? No one feared... If no one feared, this would be paradise. But right now, it's like a form of purgatory, if not hell. That most of us live in. In a place that's supposed to be paradise. Why? 'Cause we're lazy. We become lazy. Lazy thinkers. Sheep. So I'm working on a few projects right now. Can't talk about them. Secret. Oh, really? I don't believe you. No, I was working on some sculptures yesterday. Working on some concepts. I don't know. Today I'm going to sit back and think about what my next move is. What's your next move? What are you going to do? Probably take a nap. Because we're working too hard. These people that are making decisions about what is an essential service and what is not. Who are these people? How did it catch on so quick? Media. We're still watching the news and we're still believing what they tell us. Most of us. We're either watching Fox News or CNBC. For the most part. Most of us, right? Some of us watch others, but they're all the same. They're bought. And we still think that these people are giving us the news, and they're giving us numbers, and they're showing us charts, and they're showing us all the research that they've done, all the really good news reporting that they've done by reporting the numbers that they read on their teleprompter. These people do not think for themselves. So have you ever watched Anchorman with Will Ferrell? I suggest you watch it. It's a very funny movie. It's one of my favorites. Anchorman. But to give you a comical look at what news is really all about. How good of an actor are you? How capable are you of reading what's directly in front of you and then extrapolating from that, but carrying on the same message? Can you do that? Are you good at making it sound like it's coming from your own thoughts? Are you good at that? Oh, great. You could be our new news anchor. And you're a good-looking individual, aren't you? Beautiful. Get some makeup on you, do your hair up, right? Those eyes are going to pop once we're done with them. And then bam, you're on TV. And now you're reading the news. Just reading it. Where'd this come from? Arkansas to decide on reopening churches May 4th. You know? I think that's a really good idea. Or it's not a good idea. Because we shouldn't open this early. It's dangerous. Fear, fear, fear. Or we should open it. Back and forth, these people. They're all on the same team. One cannot survive without the other. Dead in the fucking water if they didn't have the fight. I swear to God. I swear to God. Whoever that might be. Well, if you ask these people, they would say that they're the gods. And to some degree, they're probably right. The amount of influence they have on the masses. Judges note differences in the structure of the men's and women's contracts, which they agreed in collective bargaining. And dismiss argument that if the woman being paid under the men's CBA, well, we all know what the CBA is, right? No, I don't. They would have earned more than they did under their own CBA. Really? Yeah, spokeswoman for women's team says they are shocked and disappointed with judge's decision and will appeal. Thank God for lawyers. Thank God for judges. Thank God for the law. Because that keeps us all safe. Fuckers that should be in jail are not in jail. Why? Anybody please tell me why the people that should be in jail should be brought up on war crimes, shit like that. They're not in jail. The people that have siphoned money and stolen and just fucked everything up, they're not in jail. But this guy here that stole a pair of socks and some Twizzlers, he's in jail. That guy's in jail. You're not in jail. For all the fucking shit that you did, you're not in jail. Amazing. How'd you do it? Lawyers. No, seriously, how'd you do it? We got money. We pay the lawyers. They deal with it. Is that going to catch up on you? Is it going to catch up sometime? Maybe. Not for a while, though. I got so much money. Really, how much money you got? I got enough money to, if I had 100 lifetimes, I would never have to work again. Never have to do anything ever again. And I would have everything I have ever wanted. Power. Women. Wow. Good for you. Maybe it's time to do something different so you don't have that much power anymore. So we don't deal with you anymore. It's as simple as this, people. And it really is. Let's say Facebook, for some reason, goes like ultra sideways and starts banning certain things, certain topics, which they already have. It's just it's like when's the tipping point? When do we all say, we don't want to do Facebook anymore, we're going to do something else? Or we don't want to do YouTube anymore because they got too much power. There's no reason why you can't do anything else. There's no reason why you can't try another platform or create your own platform. There's no reason. In fact, it's probably the smartest to create your own platform, have your own servers eventually, and then be beholden to no one. And, yeah. You think Facebook's using all this information? They're selling the information? Yeah, they're selling the information. You gave the information to them. They're selling the information. Okay, that's fair. Who are they selling it to now? Keep an eye open. How is it affecting us? Is it affecting us negatively? Starting to. So we got to keep these entities in check. These platforms, these systems that we have in place. You know, Facebook, I don't know, it's about 3.5 billion users. I think that's it. There's 7.7 billion people on the earth, and half the people use Facebook. And so it's the biggest platform as far as how many people use it. All right. So it got to this point. It's big. It's clunky. It doesn't work that great, but it's getting better, I guess, in some ways, and not so good in other ways. How can you make a system like this? How can you create your own? Easy. If you wanted to. But you know what? Let's use this. Because there's 3.5 billion. That's half the world's population that use Facebook. So if it's a message that you want to get out, if it's something that you feel is important to talk about, it makes sense that we would use it as long as we're not being censored. Now, when would we be censored? That never happens, does it? Oh, it's happened to me quite a bit. Not just with playing of music. It's like a whole year gone. Just gone. Or like a whole page missing. I Am Music on Facebook. A whole page missing. Where'd it go? Why isn't it not on my Facebook page anymore that I can't get into? I can't manipulate because it's not me? I've been blocked. I've been censored. It might be time to find something else. I'm in the process of looking. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. No, I tried that already. It didn't work. I dropped the basket. We just had scrambled eggs. So we got an excellent connection. It's 9:44 a.m. I feel like this is a really good start to the day. Second largest school district weighs reopening strategies. Who the fuck cares? CNBC, coronavirus pandemic. Globally, total cases 3,369,208. And then the deaths, globally, 239,448,000. 239,448. Deaths in the world, globally, because of the pandemic. And in the United States, total cases are, just above 1.1 million. And then the deaths are like 65,000. And we're finding more because we're looking harder. And those numbers will increase. And this virus isn't going anywhere. Because as viruses do, they make their way around. And there's a lot you can do about it. But the rich will barricade themselves in their houses. They will stay home. They will convince other people to stay home. Hey, but what if you didn't have a home? Could you imagine how hard it would be, if not impossible, to stay at home when you have no home? Six feet apart, huh? So I go grocery shopping. My mom told me yesterday she went grocery shopping, and now they got one lane traffic. And you got to make your way down every lane in single file. Because how else are you going to do it? That makes sense, actually. Smart move, business owner, if you're trying to, be accommodating to this shitty rule. Only the rich win with this. And the poor, they die. Mostly. Exceptions to the rule. Karen's going out fishing. It's great. We're going to be doing a lot more fishing in this end of town. Yep. And we don't pay for licenses to fish. Because you don't own the fucking river. You fuck. Right? You don't own it. We can fish in that river. We can fish in that river. And we're going to protect the river too. And we're going to make it better. I see it already happening, so that's good to see. Natives on the other side of the river are doing something pretty cool. Looks like they're increasing their marsh space, doing some digging, allowing for some water to settle, bringing back the marsh again. Very important to this ecology. But, city side, not doing so great, I don't think. Oh, no, we have approved more buildings, more high-rises. More places that most people can't afford, except for the rich, wealthy. That passes. What about the affordable housing? Like the nice housing, small, manageable. What happened to that? Our homeless population is through the roof. Although we do handle it quite well with the RCMP and bylaw officers making sure that homeless people do not settle for very long. Very good at this, Penticton is. Very good at disrupting people's lives that live on the street. They're very good at it. I've noticed. And you'd think the churches would care more, but they don't. They fucking don't care. They don't care about homeless people. Oh, no, we got a soup kitchen. Yeah, okay, the soup kitchen's cool. That's great. It's a very good service. One program. Where do they sleep? Well, we got beds for them. We did what we could. Men's shelter. How many men's shelters do you have? How many women's shelters do you have in Penticton? How close do they sleep together? Is that living? Is that their home? Where are their fucking homes? Build the fucking homes, not shelters. I'm in. I got 2 fucking hands. If we do this, I do not charge. I'll work towards something like this. Would be nice to have my own home one of these days. I remember there was a time when I did have my own home. Here in Penticton. I bought a home for under $100,000. And then we put about $200,000 into it. Created a bigger home. Landed up having to sell it. Made a minuscule profit on it. I remember having a home though. And I remember thinking, I don't really own this. Even though I had a mortgage. I don't own this. Build. And then eventually I had to get rid of it because, well, you know. If you're not a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant in this town, you're basically making minimum wage. Slightly more. $20 an hour. Well, that's not bad, is it? No, it's bad. Hourly wages are stupid. That's a stupid way. Selling your time for something that doesn't even exist. Money. Ephemeral money. Selling your time. Selling your time so you can go to work, so you can pay for your taxes, so your kids can be taught by somebody else, not you. How about we teach our own kids? That would change the world. Government has too much control. We've gotten ourselves into a situation where, for the longest time, we've convinced ourselves that government works for us, for the people. And slowly, it mutated into how much the government is taking all our rights away. Freedoms. And then, bam! You got a pandemic. And now everything's shut down. Because the government says that it's important that that happens. Instead of... what? Well, they had no other option. Because their power was decreasing. And the people's confidence in them depleted. Or was depleting. But there are a lot of stupid people out there. I have to say, I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I don't know how to say it. Because it really sets you up as an arrogant prick. But there are a lot of stupid people out there. Stupid as they're ignorant. They don't want to learn. And they think they know everything. It's the most devastating kind of ignorance. It's the ignorance where it's like, I'm telling you I know everything, but you know that they know nothing. Ignorance. Well, I heard it on the news. We got to flatten that curve. What does that mean, sir? Flatten the curve. Can you tell me? Extrapolate on that, please. Because when you just say stupid things like this and you don't have anything to back it up, if you haven't thought it through, then you shouldn't be saying these things because they're just something that you're parroting off of somebody else. Flattening curves. Oh, we gotta flatten the curve. Fuck. Tell me what that means. Well, you see this this chart. It's a bar graph, and then we drew a line. You see it? And now it's coming up to the top here, and it's kind of flattening out. But then it's going down again. Well, how does it flatten? We can't flatten it. That's right. Correct, sir. We're giving you an impossible task. We're telling you to do something, to flatten something that can never be fucking flattened. It's not possible to flatten something that is always a curve. It always goes down, and then it always comes back up. Cycles, patterns, rhythms. Okay, so you know this information. So you got a guy like Cuomo, who's not an idiot by any means, but maybe he is. Maybe he is one of the useful idiots, as Noam Chomsky would refer to them as. Maybe he is. He's just like one of the smart ones. A smart idiot. Because he can read a chart. And he can use all sorts of words to explain this chart. And give you all sorts of crazy rules that you have to follow that you can't. It's impossible. Because you can't flatten a fucking curve. Oh yeah, we can. With a New York toughness, we can. We're New York tough. That doesn't mean that we don't care. We're New York tough, but we care. But we're tough. And we'll figure it out because we stay together. We stick together. New Yorkers, you've never seen a tougher bunch of people. Cynical? Oh, yeah. But when it comes down to it, we're all family. I think New Yorkers actually bought into that. I've been to New York. Very greedy, selfish place. Busy. Always doing something really important. Fast. Because everybody's so important there. Everybody's competing. Who's more important? There's definitely a pandemic out there. But I think we have named it inappropriately. I think the name should change. Because the real pandemic is with how much fear they've infused into our day-to-day. As if it wasn't fucking hard enough to live in this particular timeline on this earth. As if it wasn't hard enough to make a living or to do what you want to do. As if it wasn't hard enough to do that. And just to put food on the table. And be genuine. You know? Just when you thought it was hard. Then it's like, oh, okay, well now it's easier. It is. Because I think people are going to start to realize they have no choice. They have no choice but to reevaluate their greed And in doing so, they'll find out that the people that are making these decisions are the most greedy of them all. And then they'll say, okay, logically, why do we need these people? Why do we need these institutions? Why do we need the Federal Reserve? Why do we need the federal government? Why do we need the provincial or the state governments? Why do we need the municipal governments? Why do we need mayors? Why do we need this hierarchy? The answer to that is that we don't. This is what I know. So if you ask me, hey, what do you know? I know that. You obviously don't know that. Everything would fall apart. You'd lose everything. You wouldn't have I don't have anything. Take it all. Whatever you see, you can have it. Combined may be worth, I don't know. Depends. Do you think my paintings are worth anything? I can't sell those for fuck. Do you think any of the things that I know how to do I get paid for appropriately? Probably not. Do you think any of this stuff here I'm going to be able to sell for any amount of profit? Probably not. I'm not in the mood to take advantage of people. Okay, but if I was to give it away, maybe 2,000. All of it. Take it. I'll take 2,000, move on, do something else. There's at least $10,000 worth of stuff in here. If you're really good at selling, you wanted to take the time, 5,000. But I'll take 2. Actually, you know what? If you really need it, I'll give you the whole thing. If you need it more than me, you tell me. Convince me. I'm going to be left with nothing in the end. Although, you know what? How grateful am I that I have a place to live in? How grateful am I to have a roof over my head? Everybody should have what I have now. I got one room with a bathroom. So I got a kitchen in the room, I got a bed in the room, I got my piano, I got a desk, another desk, I got 2 balconies. Okay, everybody should have at least this. Doesn't matter if you can pay for it, they should have at least this. Plus, they should have food in their fridge that they can, or the ability to grow food for themselves, which can easily be done, which I'm in the process of working on currently. I don't know. As things change, which they're gonna do, they're gonna either change for the worse or they're gonna change for the better. But what I do know is that change is happening all the time. But if we don't want it to happen, if we want to take our power back, if we want to be able to contribute in a meaningful way, where your say, your word is worth as much as Joe Blow billionaire's opinion. If you guys are on the same, can this happen? What are you talking about, bud? I have no power. Well, I can't make laws. My say is not heard. The only reason why is because greed is the biggest problem, but we bought it. We bought it. It's acceptable. Make as much money as you can. And if you can get the best deal, do it. No matter what. Profit, profit, profit. It's not sustainable, dude. You're an idiot if you think that's sustainable. Yeah, but if I got the money, then I can make the decisions. And, you know, I'm Bill Gates, so I can make these decisions better than anybody, you know. I did come up with the PC computer, you know. Oh, did you? You know, I came up with the code. Zeros, ones, zeros, ones. 0010. Oh, you can count, can you? So that makes you more qualified to make decisions for a whole group of people. The world. Bill Gates, I'm talking about here now. Because he has the wealth. He has the wealth. He has the power. Now he's on talk shows. Now he's on CNN. Giving us pandemic reports. Setting us up for the new vaccine that he wants us to take. There's an agenda. Look into it. You probably will be very surprised when you look into who Bill Gates rolls with and who he meets with. You know, the really rich and wealthy people that own governments, that use these people on TV and the president of the United States, puppets. All of them, they're fucking puppets. The useful idiots regurgitating whatever they read on the screen. Seen some new faces on the television set. Haven't seen before. More than half of the U.S. states begins to partially reopen. Okay, how much sense does that make? Huh? If it's a fucking pandemic, how can you open up? If it's as bad as you said it was. Sorry, I'm yelling. I'm very passionate. If it's as bad as you said it was, how the fuck are we opening up right now? All right? First of all, I don't care. One way or the other. All I care about is truth. And I know this is shitty. This is shitty news. And it's all shitty news, from the BBC to the NBCs to the CNBCs to the CNNs to the Fox Newses to the Inquirers to the Sun, Tide, the Washington Post, the fucking everything. They're all organizations that are bought. They're news that's bought. Find the news that's not bought. Discuss with your friends, your family, what's going on. Don't regurgitate what someone's told you. Question it. What does it mean to flatten a curve? Does that make sense? A curve can't be flattened, fucker. Can it? Yeah, you can. You put enough books on it. What are we talking about now? Cycles, patterns. We got 3 guys in the park hanging out. I hope they're 6 feet away from each other. They're in chairs. A lady just walked by them. See, now this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be judging everybody. Oh, do you see? Do you see John Smith and his wife and the kids? They were at the beach yesterday. Do you see how fucking close they were? Yeah, they went with another family. How irresponsible. Fuck. They closed all the parks down, dudes. They closed all the parks. They shut down the skateboard park here. They shut down the basketball hoops. They shut down. They told you that you can't go to the beach, that you can't go to the park, and now they reopen the parks and they say it's good for you to get outside, as long as you practice social distancing. Well, that's not what you were saying before, sir. You were telling us to stay inside. Just stay inside. Don't go anywhere. That's the best that you can do. So how many people died alone in that old age home? You know, that one? Because we couldn't go inside? To see our own mothers die? You fucking kidding me? This happens because people make these decisions. They shouldn't be in the fucking home to begin with. And you knew it. You knew it was an infestation of all sorts of disease. That's where you go to die. But no, you close the windows. You don't go outside. You don't allow anybody from inside to come inside. But who would want to? That's a place to get sick. Take your relatives out of these homes and look after them because they're your family. Oh no, we gotta work. We gotta go to work. We gotta work. Exactly. So maybe you don't go to work. Maybe your job is your fucking family. It makes no sense how we live. But we bought it because we're still doing it. So we go to work. Most of us go to work for these reasons: to pay our mortgage, to put food on the table for our families, to put gas in our cars, to have the right insurance just in case. Life insurance, house insurance, medical insurance, medication insurance. So that we can put our kids through school, so we can have them teach our kids, as opposed to us teaching our kids, family, you know, mom, dad, extended family, friends, community. No, we make money, right? Get it? We're making money to send our kids to school so that we don't have to teach them. So the government's teaching them. The government or the institution that has a school, if it's a religious school, we get them to teach our kids. So we're sending them, we send them to public school, elementary school, high school, and then what? University, college. We're always paying somebody else to do it, as if it couldn't be done any other way. As if the community that you live in can't do it. Why do people move from communities? Why do our young move away from our cities? There's nothing to do here. You're all old, you're retired. What else is there? There's nothing. There's no creative opportunities at all. Why would you want to stay? Oh, because it's beautiful. Yeah, it is beautiful. Try to see the beauty when you're living on the street. Still there, but RCMP's not very kind to homeless. I've seen it. We're not kind to the homeless. Very rich town, very affluent. Got all sorts of opinions. Lazy. Just a mess. Depressed. You know, he's mentally ill. She. There's reasons. Yeah, there are reasons. Yeah, keep pointing the fingers. Keep justifying your way of life. Because I don't know, that's all you got. It's a pretty sad way of living. I don't have very many friends. No, you know what? It's surprising that I do have friends, but no one talks to me anymore. That's actually a fact. Very few people. Very few. It's important, though, that we talk. I don't care if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong about all of this, I'll be the guy. I'll be the guy. I really don't think I am, though. About the greed, anyways. That's pretty apparent. I think we've all agreed that that's a problem. But we haven't done what's required to fix it. Then I start thinking, is it all bad? You know, can you pick out some positive, you know, little glimmer of hope? You know, a light at the end of the tunnel? Is there something like that? There always is. But hope is it's a useless emotion when if you're just going on that and you don't do anything and you just kind of hope, it's kind of useless. If you don't do anything about it, just hope. It's useless. You gotta do something. So it requires action. Well, a thought is an action. Change your thought. Change your thought patterns. Then we're well on the road to change towards something better. But now we got checkpoints. Look at all these checkpoints. Can't move between states. All roads closed. Large crowds protest beach closures ordered by California governor. Freedom is essential. You see these signs? Freedom is essential. And then we got police officers on horses. And the horses, their eyes, they have plexiglass masks that they're looking through to protect them from COVID, I guess. I don't know what it is. Is that a new thing? So people are defying the order. And we got the surfers going to the beach. Because why not? What, are you going to arrest these people? Freedom. What does it mean? Well, you're not free to make me sick. Oh yeah? But you're free to say remdesivir is the new drug that everybody should be taking if they get it? Remdesivir, you know, that one that you pushed forward through fast? And you're not even sure You know, might shave like 3 or 4 days off of being sick. Who's making money off of this, please? Who owns these companies? Connect the dots. Most people don't want to connect the dots because they know what they're going to find. They're going to find that the governors, the cabinet members, the whatever you are, the Mitch McConnells, they're all in on making a profit and to continue the fight. Because without the fight, there's no profit. What makes money? War makes money. Pandemics make money. If you see it coming fast enough. If you can predict it. If you can put a name to it and then find it, because you're looking for it, because you're testing for it, then you can surely make money. Maintain power, control. But what do I know? What do I know? Hey, Melanie Escamilla! Good to see you. Good to see you. I should get my camera out sometime, find that battery, because I want to take pictures of some of my sculptures that I made outside. I worked on it all day yesterday. Wonder if they're still there. Heidi playing. Hello, hello, hello. So how's that skunk issue doing? Did you make friends with it eventually? It's good for the garden, I hear. Skunk's your friend. Don't piss it off though. Try to get that stank off. That's going to take 2 weeks. But if it does happen, I hear that tomato juice. Bathing in tomato juice. For whatever reason, takes the smell away. Eventually. I don't know if that's true. You can try it. Or remdesivir. I hear that works as well. Oh, you could try it. What other choice do you got? Has this been tested? Not really. But what other choice do you got? I saw yesterday a guy was being interviewed on CNN. Because they pick these people, right? It's about a 44-year-old man. He was on one of the ventilators. So it was pretty bad. You know, and then he made it through. Most people, 70% of the people that are on ventilators, they just don't make it through. Apparently. Whatever. I don't even know if those stats are correct. But whatever. This guy's on. He's totally buying it too. Like, fuck. Thank God to the doctors. Thank God to the nurses. Thank you, thank you. If it wasn't for this and this. The first guy on remdesivir, I think it was. To sell fucking more drugs. To sell more drugs. This is all to sell drugs. It's all to sell drugs, tests, swabs, and machines. To create jobs. Jobs. Data. Tracing. What else? Oh yeah, we're all in the business of creating jobs, health, money, and education. Submit your questions at cnn.com. Well, I got a question. How do you give us objective news when the only news that you're giving us is the news that you're told to give us? How is that subjective? Does it mean something to be objective in news? When you're subjective, can you trust it? When it's opinions, can you trust it? Can you even trust the information that you're really giving us? Because you're just reading it off the fucking screen. You're not doing any reporting, really. Someone else did the reporting, eh? Who? Oh, that's classified information. I don't even have that information. Well, it comes from the top. It comes from the top, does it? Yeah, it came in the mail, in the tube. Yeah, there's a tube. It runs everywhere, and boom, there it is. There's my information. I put it here. I read it to you. I don't know where it came from. It came from the tube. Actors. They're all actors. Yeah, Don Lemon. He's one of the worst actors, but he's an actor. Infuriated. He just happens to be a black man and a gay man. Lots of controversy there, eh? Now it's about black issues and gay issues. You're always going to find some kind of contention there, aren't you? Why? Because you focus on it. This is exactly what they, where they're getting the information from. That's what they want you to think, to believe, that you're separate, that you're different than the other, that you're a part of that clan, that organization, that body. I'm a black person. I'm a black man. No, I'm a black woman. And I'm a lesbian. Can you imagine how hard my life is? Wow. Stop putting yourself in the fucking box. Stop labeling yourself black, white, doctor, lawyer. I'm this or that. You're none of those things. It's what you do. Oh, you're a gay man? That means you have sex with other men. That's not who you are. It's what you do. Shouldn't factor in, should it? I'm a white man. Let's pretend I'm a white man. Well, it's just the color of my skin. My blood's the same color. Why are you trying to put me in a box? I don't want to be in the white box. If you're going to put me in a box, make sure you fucking poke holes in it first. You need to be able to breathe at the very least. So when I watch news, this is how I get. And if you want to know why possibly you're on edge some of the day, if you've had the news on all day, subconsciously, you're taking it all in. And if you find yourself getting caught up in it and having it affect you, you know that maybe you should probably shut the news off for a while and go for a fucking walk. Russia's health system under pressure from COVID-19. Oh, is it? It's also under pressure? All right, so let's assume something once again. Let's assume that because we can't assume that this thing is any worse or better because of the systems that we've put in place or we have allowed people to put in place. Instead of allowing things like this to take its natural course and make its way throughout the population of the world, because we're all connected this way, we do our best to control it, but in the end, is it going to bite us in the ass? Are we going to get it even worse the next time? Because we're trying to catch it before it comes. We're fighting a battle that we don't even know is there. We can't see it. But when we name it and we know what we're looking for, boy, it sure becomes something, doesn't it? But we didn't know about it before. And we didn't name it before, and it wasn't a problem. People were just dying. Like they do. About a year ago, I spent 2-3 months in a care home for elderly people at the end of life. Hospice. The time I was there, people died. I know that because I heard stories from the person I was visiting. And I'm sure people die in waves. Curves, you know. More sometime, less others. Depending on what the environment's like. First of all, we should not have our elderly living in these conditions. We're throwing away our resources because we don't consider them resources anymore. We don't consider them important enough to listen to. No, we'd rather make money, work hard, and then now we're not only putting our kids through school, but we're paying somebody else to look after our elderly. Well, we could have been doing all of that and not having any bills, education. It just doesn't make any sense. We're getting everybody to do stuff for us that we should be doing already. That's what we should be doing. It's about relationships. What else are we here for but to have relationships? But what is family, man? What is family? Maybe we should talk about what family is. Because what family is right now isn't working. It's only working. So in conclusion, man, if it's not like a virus on your computer. It's a virus somewhere else. When will we stop fighting? When will we relax? It's only until that point where we become more relaxed. We end the fight. And we think logically, with compassion, equally. When we start doing that, we make better decisions, no? Start thinking clearly. Keep you working, though. Keep you busy. No one has time to think. No one has time to ponder. If you don't have time to ponder, you remain in ignorance. That's a fact. So let's take this time to ponder. Let's take this time to think about how important it is to change the systems that we've relied on so heavily all this time, throughout lifetimes. To change those systems. To maybe get rid of those systems. To ensure that creativity is remains to be, sought after. Creativity. And being creative or exercising that creativity, the process behind that is to allow. To just allow, to simply let. But we control everything. And we've got to the point where we think that control is part of our nature. Is that it's built in. It's something that we can't get away from. And it's not our true nature. If at one time you believed that there was a fall of man, that was the fall of man. Control. Pride. Why are we here? Who are we? These are questions that we must ask ourselves. And never should we ever not question things, opinions, people, me, yourself, your own opinions, your own mind. Over the course of time, we have learned some pretty bad information. Because I say it's bad because it's misinformation. But we've taken it on as if it's true. And we're figuring now, especially now, more people are thinking that our history is definitely not the history we were taught, or the science that we know is definitely not how it works. But our need to be right as humans, that's one of our biggest flaws. The need to be right. So you get into the point where you don't even question your own thoughts. It's like, I'm right because someone told me. And that's just the way it is. Next. You don't want to talk about it? No, I'm right. Oh, man. You're the hardest to deal with. Do you feel like there's a problem with the homeless? No. Their problem, not mine. You don't think that we're connected in any way? No. My family. That's it. You're a Christian? Yes. How does that stand up with Christ's teaching? Silence. So for all you Christians out there, if this makes any sense, some people just, he's just quoting scripture now and turning this guy off. Fair, that's fair, if you want. Wasn't there a part of the time in scripture where rich man came to Jesus and said, what's it going to take? What's it going to take for me to follow you, to essentially be saved from whatever it is, myself? What's it going to take? What's it going to take? And Jesus looks at him and he says, well, how about you give all your stuff away? Give your stuff away and then come back and see me, and then we'll see, because that's your main thing for you, sir. How much is that stuff worth to you? Do you think it's yours? Silence. Guy walks away. Don't see him again. Christian church doesn't talk about that very much. But it was like, that was a big deal for Jesus. It was one of his main teachings, wasn't it? That greed was keeping people from attaining whatever it is that they were trying to attain spiritually at the time. I don't know, what would you call it? Enlightenment? What would you call it? Who was Jesus? What religion was he? Did you ever ask yourself this? Oh, he was a Christian, wasn't he? No. Didn't exist. What religion was Jesus? Well, he wasn't a part of a religion, was he? Wasn't he a Jew? Was he a Jewish person? He quoted the Hebrew Bible quite a bit. What? That's a good question. Was he Zoroastrian? What was he? What was he? Is he Franciscan? No, that came after, right? What was he? Was he a part of some kind of order? Why do you spend so much time in Egypt? What influences? What was he preaching? Well, he was preaching that there was only one God. And he was preaching that he was saying that the thing that you're seeking, the thing that you're looking for, is already inside of you. That's what he was saying. Really? That's what he was saying? Yeah. That's why he got crucified, because people said it was heresy. I and the Father am one. Are you God? They asked Jesus. I am. Oh, we gotta get this guy. This fucker's out of control. I'll tell you what. I know one of the guys he hangs out with. I'm sure if we offer him a bit of money, we'll be able to trick him into turning him over. I think we'll be able to do that. How many? I don't know. How many shekels do you think it's worth? Yeah, buy him off with silver. And then Judas commits suicide. Poor Judas. Because he wasn't much worse than everybody else, you know. When it came down to it. Jesus was on the cross because of everybody. It's like no one stood up for him in the end. No one said, hey, touch him, touch me. They did in the end, I guess. Some of those disciples were crucified. Peter was crucified on a cross as well, wasn't he? In the shape of an X. It's interesting imagery, isn't it? The Gnostic cross, and with the circle, you know, the circle, and then the crosshairs in the circle. That's the Gnostic cross. It's very important. Important symbol. It's valuable. It doesn't look like much. There's a lot of information contained in that one symbol. You got the entire universe wrapped up in one symbol. The Gnostic cross. Experimental vaccine prompts the body to make its own medicine. U.S. gives vaccine contract to company with unproven technology. U.S. gives vaccine contract to company with unproven technology. So, there's probably a few people working on these vaccines because it's big fucking money. Huh? You want money? You want to create some wealth in your life? You want to be somebody somehow, some way? Vaccines. Get into that. Because there's always going to be a new flu, a new pandemic. coming down the pike. Get that first contract, you're in for life. Lack of testing and continued travel fueled early transmission of novel coronavirus pandemic in U.S., CDC report says. Testing continues to be an issue in many places as health officials try to pinpoint exactly who has the virus and where it is. CDC official says it will be critical to intensify testing in coming months. Health officials are also frantically trying to quickly develop a vaccine. Senior administrator officials says President Trump is essentially giving a blank check to government. Project aimed at quickly ramping up vaccine production. Who gets the contract? Whoever gets the contract makes the money. Where's that money going? Whose pocket is that money going into? Remdesivir. Who makes remdesivir? FDA. Oh, I wish I could finish that, but... Commercial. They're telling you exactly what they're doing and nobody cares. Oh yeah, they gotta do that. They have to. We need a vaccine. As soon as possible, the sooner they can approve a vaccine, the better we're gonna be. The less chance we're gonna have to die. Oh, we gotta get on that vaccine. We gotta push it through. Oh, and plus, I'm heavily invested in it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got stock. I've had stocks in remdesivir for the last 4 months. Really? Oh yeah. Gilead company? Is it Gilead? Yeah, I'm invested. I've been invested for a while now. Oh, how long? 2-3 months. How easy is it to make money on the stock market? Well, when you peddle with death, when you deal with these things, when you're making money off of viruses, it's pretty easy, actually. Very easy. Because people have become complacent. I really wanted to say stupid. But I don't know if they became stupid or they just were stupid to begin with. That like they just gave up. You know, stupid is exactly what stupid does. It's probably one of the best lines from any movie, Forrest Gump. Stupid is what stupid does. Stupid follows. Stupid never questions. Stupid buys into the fear. Without the fear, they would have nothing to point to. No reason to exist. If there wasn't any fight, there's no reason. It's almost like people's identity is wrapped up in the controversies that they're in. If they didn't have the controversies, then, well, who would they be? Not important. Content, maybe. It's 10:55 a.m. Coming to you live from the Beaumont Motel in Penticton, British Columbia, Canada. And it's a Saturday, May 2nd, 2020. There's nothing to fear. But you wouldn't think that just by looking around. There's nothing to worry about. Worry does not help you. Here's another teaching of Jesus. I believe he said something like, let me get it straight. I'm not going to quote it word for word. It doesn't really matter because you can quote it from the NIV, the KJV, the number of different translations. It doesn't matter if you get it word for word. It matters if you get the thought behind it correct. Now, what was I talking about? Jesus teaching on what? Well, he taught about a lot of things. About worry. So the one, I almost know word for word from the NIV. It's don't worry about tomorrow. For tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough problems of its own. It's in Ecclesiastes, I think. And then, what else? Why are you worrying? The guy says to him. Jesus is having a conversation with people at this time. So, giving a little sermon. Parables. That's how he did it. Why are you worried? Why are you worried? Look around you. Look how everything's being taken care of. Flowers of the field, lilies of the field, whatever. Points to a few things, Look at that. Yesterday I was at the river, okay? And I was watching the birds. Plenty of birds at my new secret spot. Just found it the last couple of months. Gotta jump a fence. No big deal. Anyways, I was watching the birds and I was wondering, what are they doing all here in this one spot? I'm looking on the shoreline. I'm looking at the logs, everything that's been kind of captured by these little traps, and I'm looking at this vegetable garden in the water. They're eating seeds. They're eating all sorts of good shit in there. So I go in there and I take one. I put one in my mouth. Seeds from a tree. And another plant. And a flower. And I ate those. Not a lot, but they were tasty. Interesting. Anyways, that's what Jesus was saying. Look at how everything gets fed. The trees grow. The water's supplied. You don't have to think about it. It's like it's like your own heartbeat. Do you make your own heartbeat go? Do you blink? Are you the one that blinks? Are you the one that breathes? Sometimes. But when you're not thinking about it, Earth is like this. It's breathing. It's living. So what are you worried about? It's supplying for you. It wants to, but you keep choking it. So do it different. Nothing to worry about. Just make a move. Shift. And then allow. But what we're doing right now is we're not shifting at all. We just... Same thing. Profit, 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 profit. Gilead. Really? Apple blossoms for breakfast. Wonderful idea. Yeah. Well, necessity. When you have to look around you, and when you can see that possibly somewhere down the line, all these food items that we've been accustomed to that have been just essentially dropped at our doorstep maybe won't be there. Well, is that such a bad deal? Is that such a bad thing? We'd all eat better if that happened, because we would grow our own stuff. We'd look around us. We'd realize how integral it is to keep our waters clean, and for us to create. If we're going to do an economy of any kind, it should be a local economy. Trade. We'd all eat better. It doesn't serve us very well when we're shipping food from one part of the country or one part of the world to the next part of the world. That doesn't make any sense. From an energy perspective, it doesn't make any sense for us to do this with animals, to farm complex creatures like cows. The amount of energy it takes, and the shipping, and the storage, and all of this. When the food, if we're looking for something to eat, is all around us. But we want to eat everything. We want anything that's living, we want to eat it. It's a problem. It's not how it was intended to be. So, that's why there's nothing to really worry about. But people worry because they don't know. They haven't had to think about it. So they think that without these systems, that everybody would just die off. You know, how can we ever survive? Well, here's what I know. Armed protesters pack Michigan's Capitol over stay-at-home order. Armed protesters pack Michigan's Capitol over stay-at-home order. Ain't that interesting? Oh, if that happened in Canada, because they just today banned firearms like those, the ones that I was watching on TV right here, the military style, kill as many people as possible in one round kind of machine guns, right? They just banned those today. These guys are packing even more at the state capitol in the USA. Well, there's a reason why Canada banned those weapons. Hey, how about nobody with weapons? And then we'll see how much power you have. We'll see how good your ideas are. How about you put down the guns? Military? Government? Just a thought. How about instead of thinking about what your next war is going to be and how you profit from that, how about we don't do that anymore? I'm in. Put me in, coach. What's the game plan from here? Well, no. Me and Melanie, we're gonna hang out on Facebook for a while. YouTube, do our thing. And I don't know, we're going to probably experiment and do some other things like apple blossoms for breakfast. Why not? I ate this one thing from a tree yesterday. Didn't know I could eat it. And it was had a sweet taste to it. I don't know what the tree was called. Doesn't matter. In fact, I think the fact that we name everything puts a lot of pressure on us. Oh, do you know the name to that? Well, you don't know if you can eat that, can you? Well, use some common sense, you know. Some things are poison. But most of the things you can eat. Can't you? I don't know. Put it to the test. Put it to the test. What else do you have to lose? There's no food at the stores. What else do you have to lose? Try remdesivir. What else do you have to lose? Okay, you could go that way. But you know for sure that these medications, somewhere down the line, are going to kill a lot of people. Right? Complications with other medications. Complications because someone already has a preconditioned whatever it is. Or, how about we eat better? And let our own bodies fight off these viruses. And just as we're unaware of our own heart beating, at the same time as our heart's beating, while not even thinking about it, we're fighting these things off. So isn't it more important that we're healthy? Isn't that the most important thing to do, is to be healthy? Now, how do we do that? It's a combination of things, but a simple solution is think about it logically. What do you see around you? What are the varying colors, the different colors that you see around you? Eat all your colors. That's what I say. Eat all the colors. Did you ever notice when you cut a carrot in, if you slice a carrot and then you see the rings, it looks like an eye? Well, carrots are good for your eyes. They're good for your eyesight. Eat more carrots. And you got yellow carrots, purple carrots, orange carrots, yellow carrots. You got all sorts of kind of carrots. All different kinds of colors. Oh no, carrots are only orange. No, they're not. There are all sorts of different colors of carrots. Eat all your colors. What are you, some kind of nutritional guru? No. I'm just saying, eat all your colors. All right, Rain Man. I like red. I like my pedigree foods. I love my pork. My processed chicken, my hormone injected beef. So bad for us. It's an addiction, though, just like any. And it's gotten to the point where some of us actually need to eat meat, which is weird. I think Krishnamurti, he went through a time where Krishnamurti is a, I don't know how you explain whoever he is, but look him up. Public speaker, I guess. Teacher, I don't know. And one time he decided not to eat meat, but then he was getting sick. And the doctors told him he had to eat meat. I guess that's how the story went. I don't know. But we eat too much. And there are other ways to get your protein. We know more than we did back then. We should be able to do better because of what we know. But then everything's in cycles, right? And there was a time when we knew more, much more than what we know now. So we're probably the stupidest we've ever been. And that's amazing because we have a considerable amount of technology that would assume that we're smart, that we're intelligent. But no, it's their only few inventions, and it's how you use it. How's it being used right now? Well, poorly. Internet. Like what really happens? With how smart we are right now, how are we doing anything different, better than maybe we have done in the past? Because it's very obvious to me with what I know is that we've been here before. All of us, everything, this has already happened. It is already happening. It's happened, all at one time. Hard to explain. But if you just go by like a timeline thing, 49 years old when I was born, what was going on then, and the patterns that you see, the small patterns, the larger patterns, the patterns within patterns, cycles. We're probably at the bottom end right now and maybe making our way up. But it's like, are we going to continue the same cycle? Because that's hell. If you're just going around in circles all the time. Fuck, circles? Just on the outside of the circle too? Like we can't go inside and do stuff? We can't do stuff inside the circle? We're just going to go around in the circle? What, and it's just a circle? It's a flat circle? So you took a wave, or you took a line that was a circle, and then you kind of flattened it. So it's like two-dimensional. It's a two-dimensional circle? No. It's an orb. Okay, now we're talking. How does that work? Where can we go now? Just on the outside of the orb? Is that it? Can we go inside the orb? Can we go outside the orb? Can we create other orbs? What's he talking about? Orbs? There's so many ways to do this thing called life, but we've restricted it. That's our problem. We've restricted our ability to do whatever we think of, whatever we want. Guidelines. We have guidelines. Rules that we've put in place so that we don't step outside of the circle. Okay, so we're going around this one-dimensional circle, and we're down here. So now we're maybe coming up? Or is it going to fall back in on itself and just kind of... Is it going to do this? Or is it going to go around? Are we just doing the circular pattern? What's behind me there? I just noticed that. The peace sign. Did you ever notice how the peace sign is like the Gnostic cross, but it's off? Gnostic cross is straight, like this, and a circle. Peace sign is like this, and like that, in a circle. It's the same, but this, you know. Our notion of peace is off. That's why the peace sign is slightly off. So we just don't understand what it means. We think we can attain peace by violence. Oh, that makes sense. Violence amounts to more violence. That's all I know. No, that's one of the other things I know. That violence only leads to more violence. So, if your definition of peace involves violence, then you don't know what peace is. Like true peace. You just know what your version of peace is. Which is not peace at all. It's the opposite. It's confrontation. It's violence. And it happens on a global level and on a personal level. But again, we're addicted to the fight. Most of us are addicted to the fight. If we didn't have the fight, we wouldn't be able to justify our own selves, our egos, the characters that we play. If we didn't have the fight. I don't know, what do I know? Boris Johnson names baby after doctor who saved his life. That's fantastic. The couple announced the newborn's name is Wilford Laurie Nicholas Johnson, because this is news. Anderson Cooper just became a father. Had a surrogate delivered a baby for him. It's amazing what rich people can do, huh? Isn't it amazing? If you got money, whatever you want, you get. Who are the first people to receive treatments for anything that comes down the line that's really put it another way, who's the first person to get treatment? Rich people. Who are the first people to experiment on? Poor people. Who wants to be experimented on now? New York City. Because the New York governor says, pick us. We want to be the tests. You want to know why? Because that involves focus on them and the way they're counting and the way they're putting forward their news. It just amounts to more money in their pockets because the coffers are dry. You gotta make money somehow. Whoever came up with this pandemic thing, they sure know their thing, their stuff. They're crafty people. There's a lot of fuckery going on. But you know what I did the next day? I bought a fishing rod and I went fishing. That's my next purchase, is a fishing rod. Teach a man to fish, you know. You know what the saying is. No. Teach a man to fish and maybe he won't go hungry? It's a good saying. US and China play blame game over coronavirus outbreak. So China's saying that the US came up with it and the US says China did. Most likely they were both working on it at the same time. They both have information that they're not giving up, but they're both governments, right? And we know, just say, by sheer deduction, how much power and how heavily influenced one government is with the other, and how intricately connected they are and how powerful they remain together. It's amazing. This global pandemic shutdown of everything worldwide. Who owns the governments? Who owns the banks? Who owns the pharmaceutical industries? Who owns the oil companies? Who's invested? Who's invested in treatments, drugs? We sure put a lot of faith in our own abilities when we shouldn't. Because every expert out there shakes their head and they don't have any understanding. They'll give you a pat answer and tell you what to do. But they don't know. The only thing that science has really taught us is how to cut shit open. Half it. Quarter it. Dissecting. Because by the mere act of dissecting something, then you'll understand it, right? Well, do you understand how it's all held together? Do you understand what holds it together? Makes it all work at the same time? Science is the new religion. It's the last one to come out as a religion. But people have put their faith in science just like they would in the church. This is not... It's not smart. It's only a tool, at best. And it's fun to discover things, for sure. It's not like we shouldn't be not looking, but dissecting things, smashing things together, this is what science is. They build contraptions to smash things together. Is it the Hadron Collider in Europe somewhere? This underground thing, they smash atoms together? Or protons or photons or whatever. Smashing things together. And then see what comes of it. Oh, look! We haven't seen that before. It's the God particle! Isn't that amazing? We just found a new element. We're so good. We're so smart. But then everybody in that lab will say, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. It's possible we might be creating a black hole. You never know. In theory, things that we're doing, you know. No, there's technology out there. People are working on technologies and we don't even know. Anti-gravity, 0-point energy. Energy that's just there for the taking. But it's shelved. All these ideas are shelved. Purchased and shelved for profit. Could be wrong. Anybody want to disagree? Is it just me and Melanie here today? Most likely. Then I'm just preaching to the choir. I don't want to preach to the choir. Maybe from now on we just talk about what we're going to do next. Like, I'm going to take a nap. Then I'm going to go out to the river probably. Check out some of my sculptures that I built yesterday. See if they survived the weather. Yesterday I made one. This is a true story. I made a small little sculpture on a rock at the beginning of the day. Then I had lunch or something, and I came back later on, sat somewhere else on the beach, forgot about that thing that I did. And I stood up for some reason, and I looked over, and there's this bird having a conversation with one of the rock sculptures that I made. Seriously, it happened. So I did that. That was pretty creative. The simple act of just watching, that's creative. Boy, you can learn a lot just by watching, eh? Just by watching nature. Sit in one spot, just watch it. You don't even have to move. There's more information in one spot. Just once, pick one. In one spot, just more information sitting down in one spot and taking in everything around it than in all the books in the entire world. All the information's here. But we rely on books, or we rely on news, or we rely on the last TED Talk that we heard to tell us what is actually true. As opposed to thinking about it, figuring it out for yourself, and then having someone confirm it. That's different. Or having heard something, thinking about it, and then confirming it yourself, as opposed to just believing it because somebody said it. Viewer question: how can I make virtual learning more bearable for my 4th grader? How about instead of virtual learning, to answer your question, instead of virtual learning, if it's a chore for your child to learn, then it's not really learning, right? How about you teach them? Find a way to teach your own kids, or have them come up with the answers, not you tell them the answers and then have them regurgitate the answer. That's not learning. That's indoctrination. He who memorizes the most lists gets the best grades. Well, that's a great parlor trick. It's fantastic. It's a skill, you know. But that doesn't mean that you know. It just means that you're good at memorizing. But that's what our school system's like. That's what our school system's about. Regurgitate what the teacher told you. And don't disagree, because your mark will suffer. That's when you start realizing that marks, grades, all these things make no difference. In fact, there's a case to be made, I am sure, that the better your grades, the stupider you are. But you worked hard for it, so... But did you learn anything? No. One of the things I used to do as a career, I used to work with kids in various different programs. Where was I going with this? Most likely, if you're having problems with your kids and their education, it's because they're bored. And because it just doesn't mean anything to them, you know? If it's not meaningful, then it's going to be boring. How do you make it meaningful? Well, virtual teaching. How do you make virtual teaching meaningful? Can you do it? Yeah, you can. You can. But we should be teaching our own kids. I keep coming back to it. Now, you know what? There's a lot of good that can actually come from a fake um, from a fake pandemic like this. That's right. Fake. Just like the news is fake. Yeah, there's one thing that Donald Trump and I agree with. That's one. But then again, he doesn't think Fox News is fake, so that's where we disagree. I think all news is fake, and he picks and chooses, right? But he's right. Anyways, to sum up, in conclusion, my final words are when all is said and done, when all is said and done, the thing that we could do to ensure that we're moving in a direction that's optimal for everybody is to stand back and take some time. And that's why pandemics and shit like this, when people are told and forced to go home and be alone together, maybe that's a time when we reevaluate and we think this doesn't make any sense. So we'll make those decisions from now on, and now we don't listen to these people anymore. Everybody stays inside. That's the rule. But no one does. We all do our thing, and we don't listen to them anymore. Guess what? All of a sudden, they don't have that power. Guess what? When we've done our due diligence, we've worked it out. We've discovered who's been fucking us around. Banks, governments. When we find out exactly what's going on and we don't deal with them anymore, we pull everything out. We don't do business with these entities anymore. And guess what? They don't exist anymore. If we truly believe that companies like the Walmarts of the world are bad for local economies, and we stop shopping there, and we only shop at local shops, if we do this, then our local economy is going to be better. We just have to make the decision not to shop there anymore. If we shop there, then, well, we're part of the problem. If you think that Walmart's a problem, pick your problem. Okay, maybe that's not your thing. If you're complaining about something and something's not working, You think you're overtaxed, let's say, that you shouldn't be taxed on your income, let's say. Then stop paying tax. If everybody stops paying tax, the government dissolves. We do something different. If you really believe that banks are fucking everybody over, especially the poor, okay, in the middle class, interest, loans, oh sure, they'll give you another loan. It's not going to be for free though. It's a loan, just like any other loan. Look, I'm Tom Selleck, and I'm selling you a reverse mortgage right now, and I think I know what's what. I've been around long enough to know. If you think that these banks only hurt society, then why are we dealing with them? That doesn't make any sense. Well, we have to. We need somewhere to put our money. Do you? Is there another place that you can do it? I can think of like 12 off the top of my head. I don't have a bank account. I've been doing okay. Got a roof over my head. I got food in my fridge. What more do I want? Ask yourself, what do you want in life? Do you want to work? Okay, well, you're setting yourself up for it because you just bought that new car. You didn't need it. You just got yourself into a mortgage that you can't afford. You're living in a town where groceries are expensive. Gas prices, well, they're down right now, but seriously, how much money have you spent in gas and maintenance? Well, now there's a hole in your roof. You can't afford that. Now everybody's overcharging because profit is just the way it is. Maximize profits. I worked for a roofing company before. Sales. I did quite well. It's probably my highest paying job. Well on the track to making 6 figures. Oh yeah, easy. I was making too much money. They got rid of me. That's fine. Because really, at the time, what was I trying to do? Maximize my profit. And I was smart enough to figure out a way to maximize my profit on my end even better. And by just offering something like a gutter package, or we can replace your gutters with fascia style or a K-style gutter, or put some leaf guard on there. Maybe put a zinc strip on the center of your roof, so if you got a problem with moss, that's a cha-ching. I just made another $50, another $100, another $200. I didn't have to do anything. That's business. So we just keep taking from each other, right? And it's not working. So what if we stop doing that? All of us. And we were fair. And that we didn't think that some people were entitled to more than others. And you think about it, if you're listening right now, I hope you are. I hope you are, so then we can have this dialogue together. Leave a comment. You're the rich guy in the neighborhood, let's say. So you got more money than most people in the neighborhood. You're the top 90 You're the top 1% in your community. Okay? How are you helping your community out? Let's start from the grassroots, bottom level. What have you done for the homeless recently? Because we have a responsibility to each other to live in a community, right? How is it that you have so much? How is it that you got so many people to work for peanuts for you to make so much? And how did that not trickle down and spread out evenly amongst the people that were a part of whatever you do? So, how is it that you have so much, and how is it that other people have so little? When so many people did so much for you to get to where you are, because you had to do very little. Money's easy. And you can be the smartest one of the bunch and manipulate people to make money for you. That's easy. Because as we know, people predominantly want to follow. They're lazy. Now, is it right to manipulate someone because they haven't accessed the capacity to think for themselves yet? Do you capitalize on your insane powers to bring people along? Convince them that they got it good? How is it that you got all your money and everybody else around you in your community has nothing? How is it that you live in such an extravagant house, and how is it that you have 5 houses, 6 houses, 7 houses? How is it possible that you have vacation properties? How is it possible that you own islands? How is it possible that you own the whole town? And why is it, if you own the whole town, let's be honest with it, you run the town because you have the money, the power, the influence. Sure, you can blame it on the mayor, the council members, but you're the one who runs the town, because we know the people with money run the show. So, who are you in my town? I could point you out. Easy. But who are you? And what are you going to do? What are you going to do, dude? Just keep it? Stockpile it. Fuck, I need a roll of toilet paper. I couldn't find one. You got some extra? Yeah, we got a whole stockpile of it, but we got to hold on to it. You know how we shit. No, I don't. You shit differently than me? Okay, so now the restaurants are opened up now at like a fraction of the capacity. Some places are opening up restaurants. Who gets to go in now? Well, the prices are going to be more, right? Makes logical sense. Got to maximize profits, right? So now you had seats for 100 people. Now you got 20. Who's going to come in and enjoy your product now? The rich. And it's going to be well spaced out for them. Fantastic. Who wins? Rich people. It should never be like this. If it's gone this way, if it's gone sideways this way so many times, how is it possible that we could be so ignorant and let it continue? Does that sound like a winning solution? Just to allow it to continue? Fuck me. So my mom thinks we're still going downhill. And I'm thinking, well, there's a possibility that maybe some of us, a light turns on and then we get together and we start talking and being more vocal about it. Maybe changing some minds here because well, is that what we have to do? We need to change minds? Well, I guess if I was to be honest with you, I would say yes, because I would think that if our minds were clear and we thought wholly, if our whole being was in line with however it works, which is our mind, changing mind gets in the way. Mind's sick, right? You don't have to agree with that, but the mind is sick. The collective mind is sick. You just have to you really look at yourself. Look at most people around you. If you're one of the ones that have never experienced this, then you're a very, very special person. Most are sick in the mind. So by changing mind, by changing the way you think, knowing its place is very important. Knowing where thinking is best served. It's a tool, it's not who you are. The expression, I think, therefore I am, is wrong. So, sorry, Socrates, or whoever you are. Descartes, Socrates, is it Socrates? I think, therefore I am. No, it's just, you are. It's simple. Planting garlic, taking a nap, painting later. Yeah, I was thinking about painting today. I got a little job around the motel. I might, this week, work on the railings. Just get a coat of paint on it because it's coming up. I like to help out every once in a while. So, maybe in the next week I might do that. Do some painting. Maybe get in the garden down there. Go fishing. Not today. Check on my sculptures. And, I don't know. No real plans, actually. All those plans could be for nothing. Like I could, but most likely, what I'll do is go for a walk in the park because, like, it's a nice park. It's a nice day. I got the time. People were taking up arms and showing up at federal buildings in the U.S. Showing up with guns. In the U.S. Your top coronavirus questions answered. Thank you, CNN, the most trusted name in news. Leaf filter. This is what they're selling. This is the next commercial. I used to sell this stuff. Leaf guard. Leaf filter. Who's having a problem getting up those gutters and cleaning those gutters? I am. I'm really old. I'll tell you what. For $500, I'll do your whole house. Leaf gutter. The easiest money ever made. Leaf gutter. Now we answer all your questions in regards to leaf gutters. But how does it work? How much is it going to cost? Call toll free. We'll give you a free estimate. $4 a linear foot. Installed. Oh, 5, 6, 7. That could be anything. Whatever we want it to be. How much can I get away with? How much you got? How much money you got? Okay, I'll take that. So having said that, without any further ado, I'm not going to pull any punches here. In conclusion, I can't get the Christian church out of my mind. I have so much history with this organization, the evangelicals especially. It's too much information to not talk about it. Because the influence that they have in government right now is questionable. And the sacrifice that is made because of it. Attaching yourself to these people. Both sides. Evangelical Christians, evangelical church, business. Very profitable. Very profitable. Holy cow, do they make money. Catholic Church, evangelical church, all churches make money. Money. Non-profit, so they don't pay taxes. But they make a profit, but they're non-profit. And where does it go? Where does it go? Stockpile? Really, where does it go? What does the church do? Build more buildings that they don't use? Hypocrites. My God is better than your God. Religion. Freedom is essential. Forced vaccination is illegal. These are some of the signs that I'm reading off of the Huntington Beach, California news footage. See, everything that they're forcing it, ramming down your fucking throats, nobody's buying it. It doesn't seem like maybe people aren't buying it. Maybe it's starting to turn the other way where it's now, holy fuck, you tried to make us do that? See how it's all connected? And then they put on these military shows to show off in the middle of this whole thing, as if that matters. Texas allows restaurants, movie theaters, and malls to reopen. Allows them. Businesses must limit occupancy to no more than 25%. As if it wasn't hard enough to begin with. To make a living based on this economy. It was a good coffee. All right. Where were we? Where were we? It might be time. Yeah, it's time. Time for what? Well, that was a good talk. 1,000 NYPD officers to enforce social distancing this weekend. To enforce social distancing. You're going to need a heck of a lot of officers, and you're going to have to pay a lot of people, new people, to enforce these things. There may be a lot of new job creation in the near future. A lot of people saying, "You got jobs here? You want a job? We got a job for you. Don't take it. Don't take the shitty jobs." They're stupid jobs. Data, collecting data, testing people, don't take these jobs. Enforcing stupid rules, don't take these jobs. You're setting yourself up. Don't take these jobs. If we take these jobs, then we bought it. We bought the package that they're selling us. It doesn't look good, guys. Don't take these jobs. Don't create these businesses. Testing? These new industries that are coming down the line, don't be involved. Don't support them. Don't back them. Don't invest in them. Don't. If you don't invest in them, if you ignore them, if we all collectively do not deal with them, they dissolve. They fade away. No violence necessary. It's just the mere act of doing something different or not doing something. Like work. If you're in a job and it's only paying you minimum wage, that's not enough for anybody. I don't care what the minimum wage is wherever you are. It's not enough. You can increase it by $2, $3, $4 an hour. It's not enough. So just know you're a slave. You're a slave. And there's no working up. Very little room. You can be a manager. But really, when you become a manager, how much more are you making for all the responsibility that you have? You're a pawn in this game, and the game is shitty, and it's rigged, man. Don't take the jobs. Create your own. Do what you want to do. More people who do that, the better it is for everybody. And we change the system. We don't acknowledge systems that don't work. Former CDC director, this is the worst health threat in 100 years. Really? That's what you say. I say the worst health threat is the fact that we're so stressed all the time. That's the worst health threat. Think of it. They don't want you to know that. They want you back at work. We had to cut your hours. Now you're only working this much, which is fair. That's great. That's amazing. Work less. And we're also not going to pay you as much per hour. Really? Yeah, we can't. Can't afford it. We're at 25% capacity. Your government fucked everything up for you. And the government that you have is bought. Canada, United States, you're listening? Bought. It's not a fair system. And it's not a free society. And you don't know what democracy means. And all your isms, capitalism, socialism, liberalism, whatever the fuck ism that you want to subscribe to, is shit. Whatever group you attach yourself to, it's just another tribe. Someone that fights against another group. Who's right? Who's wrong? Stalemate. Nothing gets done. Nothing's allowed to be done. It's going to come to the point where essential workers must go to work. That'll come. If it continues down this trajectory, that will come. You must go to work. I don't care how unsafe it is. Oh, well, we'll provide you with the PPE and whatever you think is going to protect you. It's a losing game. And if you want, you can send $19 a month to the ASPCA. The way we treat each other, the way we treat animals, the way we treat the earth, collectively, as a human race, what we have done up until this point has been like an invasive species coming in and eating all the crops, eating everything, all in one shot, and then leaving nothing for anybody else or anything else. We're the invasive species. The world will deal with us. The world is dealing with us. The world will be around a lot longer than any one of us or any group of us or even the civilization of humanity across the generations. The world will be here longer than your civilization will be here for. Because your civilization, if you're fucking it up, the world will reclaim it. It will reclaim itself. Dust. Floods. Fire. earthquakes, because humanity has become the disease. Humanity is the disease. Humanity's the pandemic. We're the virus. Humanity's the virus. And we like to point fingers at other things. It's not us. It's that. The pandemic is fear. Humanity is the virus. What have we done? What have we allowed to happen? On our watch, while we were here, what have we done? What have we done? Just allowed it. All right. Yeah, it's going all right, isn't it? What are you so worried about? You still got your health? I was hoping for a little bit more. I guess I set my sights too high. Here's a question: can you do the right thing every moment of the day, all the time? Can you actually do what is right every moment of the day? Can you always be in that state of mind where you're always thinking, "Hey, what in this situation? What can I do is right? Not how it can profit me or how I win. It's just to do what is commonsensically right." Can you do that continually? Yeah, I think you can. I think you can. Doesn't happen though. Trump cuts funding for U.S. research on bat-human virus transmission. Not to mention the laboratories in the U.S. that had the coronavirus and that was working on it the whole time. Not to mention these people. No, we're pointing fingers everywhere except for where it actually probably did originate, the U.S., United States of America. People would like to have you convinced that it wasn't man-made, but it was manipulated somewhat. They got freezers full of this shit that they keep on storing. They can pull one of these out at any given time. Things that are worse. Ooh, that's scary. Well, don't be scared. It's, yeah, it could kill you. But why are you worried about that? And why have you allowed it to happen? Well, I'm scared. What are the ramifications? Well, I got a job at this laboratory. This laboratory, that's my job. It's where I get paid. It's how I pay the mortgage. That's how I buy my groceries. That's how I put my kids through school. That's how I put mom in an old age home. That's how I do it. What the fuck? Everybody's getting sick at school. Everybody's getting sick in the old age homes. Why did I do this to my fucking family? It must mean that I don't care about my family. I don't. There will never come a time when I don't care who, if I'm with anybody. I don't think anybody would be with me, to be honest with you. I'm a hard person to live with. I've been told. But there's never going to come a time when my mom has to look after herself while I'm alive. If it ever comes down to that. She's very healthy. Would that make any sense? Me putting mom in a home? When I was physically capable of helping? What happened to family? Oh, we don't care about family. We sacrificed it for work. Because that's more important. Oh yeah, I do very important work. I'm a doctor. How many hours a week do you work? 80. When do you see your family? Never. Oh yeah. How's that working out for you? Divorced. Stupid is what stupid does. Then we wake up 80 years later and we think, what the fuck did we just do? We allowed all that to happen. I'm 80 years old. I've been retired for 15 years. I'm getting this money now. It's not much. Gets by. It's fine. I'm not doing anything right now. So accustomed to being busy all the time, so I'm having a hard time adjusting. Although if I'm one of those guys that adjusts proper, then possibly I might enjoy the last years of my life the way I should have been enjoying it right from the beginning. And then you figure, what was I thinking? All this for that? All this for the security of a fucking pension? Did I really do what I wanted to do in life, or did I do what I was told? And I did what I was told. No, we didn't have any option. You didn't, eh? We always have options. Put it this way, my grandparents, they're of Dutch descent. Wasn't going too well in Europe there for a while. You know, with the war and everything, Nazism, camps, you know, telling people they were sick, that they were diseased, they had to be put in camps, you know. What are we talking about right now? How easily things morph into something that is horrendous. Very recently. This. thing called, I don't know, the Holocaust to some. It's just a lot of killing, right? And it wasn't just Jews. Look, I started out this this little conversation with my grandparents, right? And choices. This is what we're talking about, right? Choices. Well, they had a choice. They could have stayed in Europe, where it was obviously it was either my grandfather going to a concentration camp or hide between two walls and being fed through a hole in the wall for months. So they decided that they'd pick up and move and do something different, which I think was probably a pretty smart move on their part. And find a way. Pick up and do something different, no matter how hard it is. Make a difference where you are. How do you do that before it becomes another situation where people are forced to stay inside their homes? They're forced to not gather in groups. They're forced to obey what the government tells them to do. This is what we're getting into, right? So before it gets really bad, where they create the manpower to collect the data, to run the tests, to operate these facilities, these coronavirus facilities, for one. These camps, these concentration camps, really, when it comes down to it. Sent there to die. Oh no, we're trying to save them. Save them from themselves. They obviously weren't doing what they were told, and we're going to have to trace every step, every action that they've done, and test every person that they were in contact with. And we have officers to do it, and they have the legal authority to stick a swab anywhere they want. And we have nothing to say about this. It's just, oh, okay. Open my mouth. Oh, you gotta go up the nose? Oh, shit. Oh, bend over. Fuck. Oh, I hate these ones. All right, go ahead. You done? Not yet. I hate those probes. Bend over. All right. Sacrificial goat. Now, Tom, why don't you see things on the bright side? You know, it seems like you're always seeing the dark side of life. What about the bright side? You know? Well, I see whatever I see. And I wouldn't say it's dark or light, good or bad. It's just like, it's not working for me. I imagine it's not working for most people. You know, the thing we're doing. You know, the groups we joined. You know, the organizations that we signed up for, that we pay into. You know, the church that we go to, that we give 10% to, that we, you know, abide by. You know, the country club that I give money to. Are we having fun yet? Always look on the bright side of life. Okay, the bright side is that we can choose to do anything we want at any time we want. And if we all knew that one thought could change the entire course of the universe, if just like one small thought, one change, one modification changes the whole trajectory of the entire thing that we're doing. If we understood this, then our maybe we'd make different choices on a daily basis, at a moment-to-moment basis. Every moment we'd be trying to do the right thing, say the right thing too, right? Not add confusion, but try to understand, make it understandable. What are we talking about? Well, I see a large group of people outside a local landing here, and I'm thinking protest. A lot of young people. I'm gonna see what's going on outside. Maybe try to talk with some of them. So maybe someone could teach me something. Teach me something I don't know. Someone, please, teach me something I don't know right now. Share with me a piece of information that might make some sense out of this shit show called coronavirus pandemic. We sure are looking hard for these things, aren't we? Testing, looking hard. He who looks hard for it's gonna find it. And can you imagine, you know, the story and the backing of the story? Well, I told you it was out there. We found it. It's right there. It's obviously a problem. Yeah, you knew it was a problem. You knew it was out there already. You knew if we started testing for it, we'd find it. So we know that you're dicking around with us, right? Please don't dick around with me anymore. No, stop waving your dick in my face. I don't care if you think you have the biggest penis. You have the most power. That's an antiquated way of thinking. That's like, what, are we barbarians here? Monkeys? We're monkeys now? My woman. Yours? Now you own women? Yes. My tribe. Me. Smart. Tough. Mean. I don't think I want to follow you anymore. You're a fucking downer. Ugh. Get back here. No. Then the gorilla lives out the rest of his days alone. that gorilla, you know, the one that was way too aggressive with everybody, landed up either being murdered or left alone for the rest of his life. This is a great. I'm gonna go outside because there's a gathering happening. I want to find out what's going on. So it looks interesting. I'm gonna find out. Yeah, it's a good idea. So having said that, final words, final thoughts. Stop wearing masks. It's an indicator of how much you've bought into what they're selling you. So more people that are wearing masks, the more they know they have control over you. It's true. I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody that's invested so heavily in masks or thinks that that's the cure-all or a necessity, which if it's a necessity now, it's going to be a necessity always, and then we're always going to be wearing masks. So in conclusion, start thinking for yourself. Make your own decisions. Evaluate. Hold it up against the light. These decisions that are coming down the pike. Hold them up against the light. See how much sense it makes. How much logistical sense it makes. You know? How impossible it is, what they're trying to do, and then get deeper into it. Why have they thrown this smoke screen out, and what are they hiding? What's the real story? What's going on other than COVID-19 right now? And then once you've come to the conclusion, which you will, if you look into it enough, you'll find that your government has fucked you over so many times in so many different ways that they should not be they should not have the power anymore. They shouldn't have the control anymore. So things like this is pretty big. This is a big deal. The government overstepping in a major way. And you'll find way more protests, and it will become violent. That's a prediction based on all the curves, all the charts that I've read. Because I'm so good at predicting and reading charts. Here's what I know. Here's what I know about waves. What do I know about waves? Well, for every action, there is an equal but opposite reaction. So the higher the wave, the higher the wave, no, as big as the wave is, the trough has to be also. That's what I know about waves. Right? That stands to reason. if you think that for every action there's an equal but opposite reaction. There's definitely something going on in the parking lot. I love it. It's great. Maybe people are starting to make decisions for themselves. I think that's maybe what's going on here. Or I just didn't receive the news that the ban was lifted, which would be equally as interesting to find out that at one time you weren't allowed to do something, and then immediately now you are. How did that change? Because we're finding more. We're looking for it. We're finding it. So based on your just going down another way of looking at it, but I'm done. I'm done for the day, I think, maybe. But for some reason, I continue sitting in this chair. Not for long. I tell you what, I'll give myself one more minute. And if I can't sum it up in 1 minute, then I shouldn't be doing whatever it is I'm trying to do here. Silly. 1 minute, eh? Well, you got 45 seconds left, bud. Well, I'm closing tabs down. All right, get to the point. You got 30 seconds. The real pandemic here is the fear that is being spread. Fear does more damage to us than any virus could ever. Be aware of those that promote the fear. Those that say that you have to worry, that you should fear it, that pay attention to these people. Pay attention to them in as far as knowing that they're coming at it from an angle that does not help you, serve you in any way. It only serves them, their own self-interest, their bottom line, their profit. Think for yourself.